In this quick video, I'm going to show you how you could install Fusion 360, create your free account, and then configure Fusion on your Mac or PC. So if you want to install it first, go to any web browser, type in Fusion 360, and the first hit here you can select. This will be this page you saw. Here's the button, download free trial, and that one you can click, and then you can type in your preferred email address. Here you have two options. Because you get it for free as a student, obviously you could use your Wayne State email address. But Autodesk is so generous, they also allow you to use it as a hobby person, or you can apply for a startup license, which is valid for a year and can be renewed once you graduate. Because when you graduate, you don't have access to your Wayne State email address anymore. I would actually use your private email address. So this is what I did. Then you can click the download free trial, and based on if you're on a Mac or PC, it will download the installer for you. So I right now can only show you the Mac side. On the PC pretty much is the same. So you open the installer, run it, install it, and then you can start Fusion 360. Once Fusion is started, and for the first time, this is the screen you will see. One thing you have to keep in mind, Fusion 360 is an application you can install on your Mac or PC. However, all the data you create while it is stored on that computer, it's also being stored online inside your account. The nice thing about that is you can go to any other computer where Fusion is installed, log into your account, download the files you want to work with, quit Fusion, and then it sends all the designs back into the cloud. So for this, obviously, now we have to create your account. As a new user, you go to the Create Account, and you type everything in, click Create Account. I assume you will get a verification email to verify your email address, etc., and then you're good. Since I have my account, I go back to here and log in. And then when Fusion finished loading, I would like to point something out. You see upper right corner, there's my name, Klaas Eikekoenen. So that shows you which user is currently logged into the application. And because I have all my licenses set up, you don't really see what I'm showing you here. You see in this image, there is trial ends in 29 days, a blue area. And you can click on this one. And then when you click on it, you get this display or interface where then basically you can go sign up as a student, select the country, the conditions, click submit, and then you're done. And then basically your free trial was turned into a 3-year student license. So now we only have to set up some preferences. Go to your name, click on it, go to preferences, click on it, and then inside the general, you can, based on your preference, define what you want to be the upwards vector. So Z or Y. Programs actually switch between them. And based on what you also used to, you can use Y or Z, customize it. I prefer working with Z and have X and Y being on the ground and Z is up. If you know Alias Inventor or SolidWorks, you can also select the mouse behavior or zoom and orbit behavior or shortcuts from those programs. If you never used those before, you can just simply keep it at Fusion, as this will be the default I will use for navigating inside Fusion. Let's go to graphics. This program runs basically on a lot of machines, even older machines. My computer is pretty old, from 2008. However, I always in general prefer to have my applications run very fast. So specifically when you have an older machine, you might want to set the display styles, everything too simple. Okay. Then we can go to design. Inside this area at Design History, there's a pull-down menu, and you want to make sure that Capture Design History is turned on by default, as this parametric modeling mode is what we will work with for most of the time. Then we can go to default units and design. Based on what you think you will use most of the time, you can set this one to the dimension you would like. Since this is going to be for furniture design, inches is very common to work with. So in this case, you could set this to inches. I will keep it at millimeter for the moment because I work in industrial design with millimeters. Then we can click apply, click OK. So after we have set the preferences, let me explain a little bit the interface of the application. Upper left corner, you see here this icon with all these squares. That is the data panel. If you click on it, you can actually see all your folders and projects you have inside your account online. And you can see you can have folders and projects and files and navigate them. And this is basically where we will create projects and then create folders, add designs to. That is where then you can create components and also invite users to collaborate on designs. To close this one, you can click on the X or simply click on this one to close it again. Under File, we have the ability to make a new file, to import some data, to save, to export, and some other things. And that's basically most of the main menu. Then we have here this very big toolbar. For example, here we have our tools for sketch, or for example, to create and modify construction helpers, inspection helpers, selection options. And here where you see model, when we click on it, we can switch between different modules. So for example, model means we are creating solid geometry. Think about a volume. And patch, that is where we create surfaces. Think about like sheets of paper. So when we switch, you see very often certain elements like the sketch tools are all the same, but then some specific tools are different. For example, the create and modify. Then we also have render to make renderings, animation, simulation for the engineers, and cam, for example, to send something to a CNC machine to mill it out. Below this toolbar, we have here the browser, and the browser is basically, think about it, where you see all the different elements you're creating being listed. So all the different geometry parts, all the different sketches, they all will be listed. We can actually, by the way, also here you see units, millimeter, click on something and change it to inches, and it changes the whole design to inches. Then down here, you see this comment section. That is actually where you or collaborators could leave comments. This thing down here, that is actually the timeline. You will see later all our modeling steps will be listed in the order we created our design. Here we have some navigation tools, for example, for orbit, look at, pan around, zoom, etc. We have some options for the display, for example, to see everything shaded or wireframe or shaded with hidden edges. We have different environments. So for example, if you want to work in something that's rather dark, let's say you are in a dark room, or maybe you're in a bright room, you might want to have a brighter background. Here are some grid settings. We can set the viewport, for example, to multiple views or simply a single view. And then upper right corner, that is where our navigation cube is. So you see with your left mouse button, you can click on certain edges and then it rotates the camera. I can click on back, click on this icon, then I will look on the top. I can click on this arrow, so it rotates. I can, however, with the left mouse button, click and hold and then move my mouse as well and rotate. as well. And then there's a home button where I can click on it and it switches to the home view. Then there's a small triangle. If I click on it, I can switch between orthographic and perspective view. And that's basically it for where all the different elements are. The last thing I would like to show you is, for example, this is also the same for all the modeling and sketching tools we have. You can always click on a command. So you have to go into the menu, but sometimes, kind of like when you have tools you use a lot, you actually would like to have a quicker way to access them. So we can customize actually this toolbar, and it's very easy to do. So let's say instead of the line, I would like to also have the arc command. So you see when I put my mouse over command, a short moment later, there is the small arrow coming up, and then I can click on this arrow. And let's say this line I would bring up as well. But now I don't like the order. I would like to rearrange it. It's not very difficult. You click and hold, and then you can drag this one over. And you see then this way you can rearrange the order of all these different icons. And the same, for example, works here. If you would like to remove one, you can simply drag it out. You see, then it's gone. If by accident you completely messed up your toolbar, you can also right click on it and then say reset all toolbar customizations, and you're back to the default one. AutoCAD users are also used to type their commands. That doesn't work the same way in Fusion. While we have certain shortcuts actually for very common tools. So you could, for example, press T to trim or L to start a line. If you want to call a command, we can press S, because then it actually opens the toolbox. And let's say I type in line or I type in move. You see it will find the command. So if you look for a command and you don't know where it is, you can find it this way. Press S and then type in the name. But also here inside this toolbox, we can actually add commands. So when I press S, then I have a short selection of my most common tools and quickly can click on it. If I go to model and press S, you see now it says model toolbox. So it's a little bit different. If I would like to add line there, then there I can add it as well. So these toolboxes are actually specific to what mode you're operating in. And that basically concludes everything I wanted to show you as a quick introduction for how to install and then configure Fusion 360.